Hello everybody, this is the League of Gaming Gentlemen. I am JLucy15, James Yarwood, and here we are introducing Season 3 of F1.
It's time for the League of Gaming Gentlemen.
Play ball!
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Woo! Excellent, come on. Right, so
there you go.
Here we are. So today I am joined by Rich, aka cruelbrit. And
Hello.
And we're just going to give you a brief overview of Season 3 of our F1 season on F1 22 on the PS5. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So for those who've not had the privilege of seeing these videos before, quick note, they are all on YouTube for our previous seasons, so please go look at them. But yeah, this started last year. We did 2 seasons last year, and it's been popular, so we're bringing it back for Season 3. We have 10 people involved this year, again, which is excellent. It took a while to get those 10 people in, and we've even got somebody committed from Japan, which is amazing, considering he'll be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do it. But he was involved last year, so yes.
And he's essential.
He is essential.
He's the random factor that makes this season interesting.
Oh, he absolutely
makes every season interesting.
So, yeah. So, last season, Rich, brief synopsis of how last season ended for you.
Well, this is revenge time for me. So I managed to do most of the races last season. I did miss out on a couple, which put me under. I had a nightmarish start to the season, but at the end, I think it was me, you, and Tumshi vying for the first spot.
Yeah, it was.
And well, it still hurts. It still hurts big time. So I think I can't. My memory is terrible, but I know I was winning the race. I needed to win. I think you needed to be third or higher.
So essentially, when we crossed the finish line, it was a tie. It was a tie at the end on points. And I think on the fact that you had won more races, you would have won. And then Fuzzy Felt, our lovely Joe Middleton, crossed the line back in, I don't know, because you had the fastest lap as well. Crossed the line.
That was an additional point for the fastest lap, which put me on evens with you, because I won. I couldn't do much more. You got the third place you needed. That put us on evens.
And then
I would have won with the fastest lap. He must have been up in the top 10, otherwise he wouldn't have got the fastest lap.
No, he wasn't. He was outside the top 10. He pitted for softs with about 2 laps to go. Soft tyres, which are quicker. And we'd both crossed the line. The race was over. And then up pops this lovely message at the top of the screen. Fastest lap, Fuzzy Felt. And that was it.
Now,
I won by a point.
We've got to talk about Season 3, right? But you have just brought up a very, very interesting point. Because as you well know, the fastest lap only scores a point if you ended in the top 10.
Yes. And he didn't finish the top 10.
So if he didn't finish in the top 10, that point should never have been taken off of me.
Well, no, because he still had the fastest lap. So he got no points for it, but he had the fastest lap. So the game obviously is like, well, you don't get the fastest lap. As in real life, you know?
All right, let's not go, because that might kind of go well. So let's save that for a discussion at another time, because
yes.
Michael, that is not fair. that is definitely that goes. So really, in summary, there, you know, we had quite a battle between us. Tumshi was up there, Fuzzy was up there. The rest of the guys did really well. There was a good mid-table battle. We had Jacko and Michael. Most of the guys who are coming in from last season into this season. Brian with his chaos, Adam with his chaos plus, and his disregard for braking on corners.
Yeah, or his braking in really strange places.
And his braking in really strange places.
Well,
so
you say disregard for braking. He brakes perfectly when you're behind him, but when he's behind you, it's completely different. His braking point is about 50 meters later.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't use those rules. So those guys. So we had good battles. It was a long season last time.
It was, yeah,
and probably a little too long. And like we've done with in the main log game, we thought of a simplification just to give people a goddamn chance.
Yeah.
So what do you want to cover off first? Should we have a quick rundown of the rules and regulations this year of how we're going to do it, and then we'll talk about the drivers coming in?
Yep, I think that's a good idea. So, as Rich said, because it was a bit of a long season, and I think towards the end a few people were flagging, so we've cut it down. We're going to do 10 races this year, 10 races for the championship, and we're going to do it in blocks. So we're going to start. We start on the 1st of February, so that is next Wednesday, and we do 3 races in a row per week. So it's 1 race per week. So we'll do one next week, one the following week, one the week after. Once we've done those 3, we'll have a break for a week, let everyone recover and reset. Then we'll do 2 races. Then we'll have another break for a week. Then we'll do 3 races, and then that leads us nicely up to Easter. So we'll probably then have a 2-week break to allow people to go away and everything like that, make sure people are back. And then we'll resume and do the final 2 races of the season. And then after that, we will do a 11th race, which is just a one-off special, but we'll go into that after we've tackled the main bits, which is the season itself. So 10 races. We're going to do 50% race distance because that forces you to make a pit stop, at least one pit stop.
That usually means about an hour's worth of racing.
Yeah, so I think overall it is. Yeah, I think when you look at the times, it's usually anywhere between 40 and 50 minutes for the race time.
And that's more than enough for middle-aged hand cramps to take effect.
Yes, and depending on which track it is, depends on how bad the hand cramps are. The race itself, we will do a 15-minute qualifying session, which will give us our starting grid positions. And yeah, that is it. That's the weekend. How the weekend will be sorted out, and then we'll go on to the main important parts, which is the settings. So, because there are different people who have different levels of ability and like different settings. So, with regard, you have car assists. So, going to leave the assists open, so anyone can pick whatever assists they want, whatever level of assists they want to, basically make it more enjoyable. There will be no damage because, well, for those that have seen this race, you know why, and for those that haven't, you will see why.
Yeah, that's because 8 out of the 10 racers will be out within the first corner. Given the practice run that we did this week, that is definitely
Absolutely
sensible. So no damage, but that does leave us open to Adam Boyne's rather strange break.
It does, however, to counteract that, if you do go off the track or you do crash, after 2.5 seconds, the game will automatically put you back on the track and put you up to speed a couple of 100 meters or so further down. So while you lose time, you don't lose you don't lose 30, 40 seconds. You might lose between 5 and 10. Because otherwise, again, when you've been turfed off and it's not your fault, if we had get back on track manually, that would be your race over. So
yeah, we've tried that in our co-op season, and we are still stuck on that. And that does a crash, a spin on the side is pretty much a back of the grid and fine for the end session. It's very hard to get back up there. But so I think 5 seconds is fair. It's enough to make it punishing, but it's also enough to keep you interested in the race. So everyone will finish, barring
the rage quits, which we do get. There is no ghosting. So when you come up to lap because we will have 10 drivers and 10 AI as well, because the AI always make it a bit more stressful. Not, I was going to say fun, but it's not fun. It's stressful. And when you come up to lap them, you can have it so that they're ghosted and you would pass straight through them. But that's boring, so we don't do that. And inevitably, the AI gets in the way, so it just adds another little dimension to the people who are out in front. Makes it a bit harder for them with mistakes possible. So we're also going to do manual starts. Manual starts are fairly simple if you know what you're doing. by yesterday's dry run, there's going to be some poor starts.
They are difficult. I think it adds a little bit of extra in there. I guess it's not so important to get the start off. It can trip up the leaders. It's a way to balance out the qualifying. Yeah. But yeah, if you're listening to this and you're one of the drivers, then I would go on and do the few GPs on the AI, test out that start and get to learn that start, because it is important. It can be the difference between 2 or 3 places, front or forward or backwards.
And we're also going to be doing what is known as immersive pit stops, which is basically a fancy way of saying there is a blue box in the pit lane. You press X at the right time and you can save a second on your pit stop, which is invaluable.
Yeah.
Or can be.
It is invaluable. Also, it's quite a stretch for the word immersive.
Yes, it is very much so.
Like, I think an actual F1 driver might describe that as not being immersive.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's it. They are the basic rules that people need to know. The cars themselves, we'll go on to the drivers in a sec, but we have realistic settings, so realistic car performance. So that means that the Ferrari is the best at this point in time, and the Aston Martin is the worst, and then everything in between. And we've done that because some people are quicker than others and have played the game more than others. So because essentially the car, there's I would guess about a 2.5 second difference in lap time from the top to the bottom of the grid. So we've done that to try and handicap the quicker players, but give the people who are not quite as confident a chance, more of a fighting chance.
Yeah, I think it works out. The way we've done that is we've asked everyone to run through the Spanish Grand Prix circuit, which is quite a nice circuit. It's got a lot of variance in it. It's quite it's got the straights, it's got the chicanes you need to do. So it's a good tester. And I don't think anyone's thrown it, because that kind of gets a little competition, but that has given us our kind of start over 10, and then we've tested that out with the practice this week. We also did a practice race in Spain, and it felt quite balanced. I think we moved a couple of cars around, but apart from that, I think it gives everyone a fair crack of the whip down to that. So I reckon, yeah. So let's talk about those teams then, and the team drivers.
So, we'll start out from the front, from best through to worst with regards to car. So in the Ferrari, we have Dave Packer, also known as Man in the Men US.
Dave Packer back despite being adamant that he'd never race again.
He did season 1.
In fact, instigated season 3.
He did season 1. He bailed on season 2. And then, out of the blue went, I'll come back for season 3, lads, which, to be fair, I think a lot of people were shocked about and excited about, because he's very funny to listen to.
Exactly. Who's his
teammate?
His
teammate is Serena Haywood, who is new to this season.
Welcome, Serena. Fantastic.
Serena's PSN ID is Real Sweener. So Serena will also be in the Ferrari with Dave.
Yeah, and I've seen Serena doing some practice laps, getting involved in there, which is good.
I think her times have come down. I think in today alone, she's shaved off 5 seconds of her lap time, so which is good. She has she said that she has a target to meet by next Wednesday with regards to lap time, so.
That's Serena all over. She's a proper gamer.
Absolutely.
She knows what to do. She's going to focus on that. Fantastic. So that's the Ferrari team. Fastest cars on the grid. Dave is an experienced but terrible driver. Serena coming in new. We'll see what kind of prospect that she can pull out the bag by the end of the season. It's quite a steep learning curve to come in season 3.
It is.
But there you
and
go.
Then following the Ferraris, we have one person in the Mercedes, and that is our good friend over in Japan these days, Brian Riley. PSN, My Tainted Brain. And for our learned viewers of people who've watched us before, Rich's favourite terminology for him is the chaos that is Brian.
Yeah. Great to have Brian back on the grid. Let's hope he can make it work. It's an early start for him, a 6 a.m. start, so there's some commitment there. But it'd be great to have Brian back on the grid.
Hopefully the connection and the lag is good, and we can, be good. And then we have the Red Bull next, and there's 2 people in the Red Bull. We have Daniel Jackson, Jacko Manakaman, and Michael Mayer, Monsoon 94. Again, both of those are seasoned veterans of the LoGG F1 season. And actually, I think it worked out quite well. Although Jacko had to disappear a little bit yesterday, he was in and around Mikey quite a lot in the build-up in the practice run yesterday. So that seemed like a good balance for those 2. Next on the grid, we have the Alpine, which essentially is just Renault. And that is Richard Rogers, a.k.a. Tumshi.
Tumshi, Northeast Wipeout champion.
Absolutely. Got to put that in there.
Yep.
On his day, very quick, but a bit inconsistent.
Yep.
We had
Tumshi will come good.
Oh yeah, he will come. Give him a couple of races, and he'll be up the front. Next, in the McLaren, or in one of the McLarens, we have Adam Boyne, aka Silent Reaver.
Yep.
And so.
Well, we've spoken about Adam.
We have
fast off the start, chaotic into the first. Fast racer, can be inconsistent, but can take the grid out, but also can lead a race from start to finish.
Almost inevitable that in at least 50% of the races he will get a grid penalty in qualifying, because he always does. And then
that's his inconsistency.
That's his inconsistency, and then he spends the next half of the qualifying session basically putting in ridiculously quick laps, finishes first or second or third on the grid.
Dangerous,
and then
fast.
Yeah.
Effectively the James Hunt.
Yes. Very good analogy.
Exactly.
And then we have a break. Then we have the Alfa Romeo would be the next quickest car, but there's no one in the Alfa. We have a break. And then in the Alfa Tauri, we have Joe Middleton, Fuzzy Fight or Fuzzy Felt. We'll confirm that in race 1, whether it's Fight or Felt. But Joe's the winner of season 1. He ran away with it in season 1, to be fair. Hence the reason why he is quite a few cars back on the grid.
Yep. Didn't do so good. Didn't show his form so well in season 2. But a dangerous prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. He was on pole. Well, I don't think he was on pole, but he was definitely second or third on the grid in our practice run yesterday. And to be fair to him, he was running away with the race, and then he backed off to have a bit of fun. So can guarantee he won't be backing off next Wednesday if he is doing that position again.
And that just leaves you and I.
Does. So we did have a break, but I think yesterday, just to try and balance it out a little bit, we've bumped each of us up. So I am in the next slowest car in the Haas, and you're in the next slowest car after that in the Williams.
In the Williams, and that mainly based on we also play this a lot, and we were first and second last year, so that's only fair.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be a challenge for us. There's certainly a lot of time differences between the front and the back of the grid. It's the middle grid that I think you and I are going to struggle to keep the times with, because they're good racers there, and they got the cars.
Okay, so that's the races, and now let's talk about the tracks. So to pick the tracks, I did we love wheels in the LoGGBox, as you know, so I simply did a wheel while I was in a meeting at work and put all the tracks into this wheel, and then span it, and as they came up I deleted them. So we got a fair set of tracks, and actually, to be fair, I quite like the tracks we've got. I think it's good balance. So The first track, which is next Wednesday, is going to be Zandvoort, which is in the Netherlands.
A good racing track. It's a go-kart track, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like exactly like that, like a bit of a roller coaster. It's quite cool.
Yeah,
it's very good. Following that, we have Baku, Azerbaijan. Great track. I love that track.
So Baku is a street race, a bit like Monaco, but with one hell of a straight, which is where I think the back of the grid, which will give the Ferraris and the Red Bulls quite an advantage there. So that'll be a good one for the new racers and the people who are coming in with the faster cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of straights in that. And then from Azerbaijan, we fly off to Mexico to the Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez.
Sergio Perez's home.
Yes, Sergio Perez's. Again, big long straight.
Yeah.
So that's another one that could will favour the people with the quicker cars.
Yeah.
So next up, we fly back to the Middle East, and we are in Saudi Arabia at Jeddah, another street circuit.
At night? Jeddah's usually at night, isn't it?
It is at night. And it's another one with lots of it's another one that has tons of straights. So actually, that's 3 in a row that are very quick. In fact, actually, with the next one as well, because after Jeddah, there's Spa,
which probably will be in the rain if the AI's got anything about it, because that's usually absolutely hammering. That might be our first one in the rain. Just as a point of interest here, is any of these sprint races, we're not doing sprint races, are we?
No, we're not doing sprint races, but you bring a good point with the rain. We are leaving the rain up to the gods, as it's known. We are leaving it up to the computer to decide whether it's dry, wet, or whether it's a dry, wet race.
Yes, yeah. Well, that could be. I mean, Holland's not known for being. But these tracks are running. These will kind of, I guess, be in the seasons that they are. I don't know if it runs like that, whether it runs a particular season or it's just completely random. But yeah, the Netherlands could be a rainy circuit. That would be a nightmare. But it would be a leveler for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then after Belgium, we're off to Australia and Albert Park in Melbourne to do the Australian Grand Prix.
It can rain there too. But that's a good circuit to do. I think that's got some very tricky corners in it. That you can.
It's fun.
That if you learn it, then you can get quite fast. Many seconds to be had there.
Following that, we're off to Singapore to Marina Bay.
Not a track that I've run a lot. I don't remember Singapore being in last season. I know it would have been last season because we'd have done everything, but I don't remember it.
It's another street circuit, and that is going to be one that annoys people. So the fact that it's coming in at 7 is quite good because people will have had a lot of practice because it's not a fun track. Then after that, we're off to Bahrain. Good. I like Bahrain.
Yeah, guaranteed to be sunny at least, but good track. Yeah.
And then we're off to the home of the Red Bulls. We're off to Austria, the Red Bull Ring.
I don't like that track. That's got that first turn and then that lift up, isn't it? And there's a lot of spinning that can go on that second bend. I'm pretty sure it's that as it just comes over the hill. Yeah, I think for me that was a bogey track for me last time. I think Stu absolutely leathered me on that. Took me out of the race.
Well, yeah, it is easy to do on that. But that will favour the quicker cars because it's literally long start, finish straight, 90-degree right, long straight, 90-degree right, long straight.
That's why the Red Bulls love it.
Yeah. And then the one track I didn't finish because I thought, you know what, the F1 season finishes in Abu Dhabi, so we'll finish ours in Abu Dhabi. So that's the one track I didn't do on the wheel. So we finish the season in Abu Dhabi, as would the real life F1.
No Monaco.
No Monaco. Monaco did not come up.
That is a shame, but It's a favourite track of mine, but probably not one of everyone's favourites. But it's one for the purist. It's not a. Can produce some interesting results, especially with people like Adam and Brian, but yeah, probably good. It's not up. It's a lot of sunny races. I'd say there's a chance of maybe 2 wet tracks out of the 10, and that's probably about right.
Yeah, I think you've got Belgium and Austria. They're the 2, and maybe Melbourne because it does rain there. But
yeah,
other than that,
than 2 wet tracks in that. But they're good, but not too many of them.
Bringing on the point of Monaco, we didn't other than Spa. There's not really any classic tracks in there. Monza's not in there. Silverstone's not in there.
No.
So it's very new track. Or well, not new, but we'll say modern.
Yeah,
modern
I
era.
think I think what it might lead up to is that if we do a season 4, I'd say at the back end of the year, then perhaps we do the tracks that we didn't do this time.
Yeah, we can do that,
and that gives us a chance to race and people to race some of those classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think those are a good set of tracks to balance the field out with, and it's great to have some new faces joining us. It's great to have Serena in a car, brand new. It's great to have Brian back, and all the guys from before. So this is going to be a cracker.
It is, yeah. I'm excited. It'll be good. I want to retain the crown that I owe a lot to Fuzzy for. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that offline about the fastest lap roll because that's certainly something that's come out. If you want to give some advice then to the drivers with the experience that we've had with our 2-player co-op, with these settings, the tracks that we've got coming up, what's the one piece of advice you're going to give people?
Wow, that is a tricky one. Not slow and steady, but yeah, be steady. The big thing is don't attack the corner, because if you attack it too hard and you go straight on, that's it. You'd rather lose half a second being a bit slow round it than lose 3 seconds because you've gone off the track.
Yeah, that is definite. Hard to do, but I think that's right. In terms of slow and steady, you can. It is the tortoise and the hare, isn't it? You win it, and I'd say aim on what you think, where you think you're going to be on the grid, and race to that. I think if you feel like you're going to be you're a 3rd or 4th in fastest when you've been doing your practicing, then aim to do that. So you're not trying to take on races you're not going to win. And just keep racking those points up because they add up towards the end of the season. You can win a season in 3rd and 4th position, or at least you can rank quite highly, get the points. I think my advice would be practice starts.
Yeah,
is go in there, do those GP, practice those clutch starts, get away, because if you finish in 5th, 6th in qualifying, you could probably get out there in 4th if you're better than starting everyone else. And those don't start the practices. And yeah, do the time trials and don't get too obsessed about topping the time trials either, because just get your time and get it up, because learning the track is everything.
Just go round and round. If you go off the track, don't reset. If you take a bad corner, don't reset. Just pound round. Learn the track. And then I think the other important thing is, leading on from that, the cars in the actual race that we do behave a lot differently to the time trial car.
Definitely.
So the day before or half an hour before you actually race, go into a normal race in the car that you're driving.
Yeah.
And then you'll understand that they're just not as nimble.
No. What you will find on that is that the braking distances will be much sooner than you've done in the time trial. So if you've and I do that all the time. I over time trial it. I get obsessed by it, and then I get on and get into that race, and the car feels like a tank, and you end up overshooting every single corner, not braking hard enough, that kind of thing. So yeah, good advice.
And that's it. The only thing left to touch on is, after the season, I've proposed that we do an 11th race just for fun. Again, I span the wheel for this, and it popped up as Canada, and that special race will be no AI, so it'll just be us. It'll just be the human racers, and we're going to have damage on. The safety car will be on. Formation lap will be on, and I've proposed maybe a full race, but that might be taking it a bit too far. However, yeah, I think we'll put the damage, safety car, formation lap, all that sort of stuff on.
Yeah.
So that just for a bit of fun.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that's it for the racing. So that's it for the season. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. And probably a bit of housekeeping. What we're going to do is James and I are going to, at the end of each race, we're going to jump off. We're going to do a 15-20 minute debrief of the race, and we're going to invite a driver on a week, depending on who's available, just to talk through how they felt about the race, what they're enjoying, what they're hating about the season, whether they're going to make the end of the season or not. So we'll put a shout out. We'd love to get we got 10 drivers. We'd love to get every single person on one of those short podcasts. So look out for those invites, and we'll do a little interview at the end of the race, each race, and then we'll do during the breaks we'll do a little roundup of the last three, and we'll do a bit of a longer F1 podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think you and I are definitely streaming. Joe always streams it as well, and Stu, who did take part, is taking this season off. However, he has bought the game so that he can spectate. So Stu will be streaming as well, and he will be the Murray Walker. He will be commentating, and he will be looking through the cars, watching the cars individually. Yeah, so tune into Stu's stream, because that will be quite good fun, because he'll be able to look at where the action is.
Exactly, and pointing out the shenanigans and calling people out. So
absolutely. But if at any point you are interested in joining, one more rule which I forgot: no wheels allowed. You're only allowed to use your joypad.
Yeah.
If anybody watching, listening, wants to join, even if it's part way through the season, feel free. You are more than welcome to join later in the season. The more the merrier. I mean, it would be wonderful if at some point, if we carry this on to at some point in the future, have a full 20 grid. That would be amazing. So, yeah, just contact us on Facebook, through Twitter, the usual places, and register interest.
And that's it.
And that is it.
Lights out, and away we go.
Woohoo!
So see you next time. See you on the grid, race fans. Bye. Play ball.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.